Football, bloody hell. But they never give.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Football Bloody Hell on another mental week in football, as it always is when we seem to record and something daft seems to happen in the football world. Tonight joining me as always is Carl Levy, and joining us again is Sean. How do you pronounce your second name, Sean?
It's Guiden.
Guiden, right, I thought it was.
That's it, yeah, Guiden.
Nice one. So how we doing, boys?
Yeah, good.
Good, not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad, man. Just last week of work before I start college next week. It's just sorting everything and leaving work and all that. So, going to be it could be an interesting couple of weeks anyway.
Yeah.
Going back.
Got
my new setup and all that in here as well. So, got an actual table and everything for my iPad and when I get my laptop for college. So,
yeah.
Should be a good laugh. Yeah, so as always happens on this podcast, something mental happens. Mbappe maybe going to Real Madrid. Initial bid of 137 million. I'm not sure if it's pounds or euros, but it's been
euros.
Bid. Yeah. Going to Madrid, which I think's been muted for years. He's never had it that he wants to go to Madrid. And the rumours of Ronaldo going to Man City, which is just bonkers to me. Especially being like the big United fan I am. I just hope I never see him in blue. I'd rather see him in PSG blue. But what's your take on the Mbappe deal, boys?
Oof, well, like you said, this has been coming for quite a long time. He's not made no secret he wants to play for Real Madrid, and it's a bit surprised PSG have not done enough to keep him and extend his contract, which is a bit surprising. Yeah. But here's the thing: with that bid was rejected, and the reason why PSG done that because a couple of years ago, when Mbappe went initially on loan to PSG from Monaco, they're obligated to buy for at least about 150 million. At least 150 million euros or pounds, roughly that figure. The situation is they had a selling clause with Monaco. If Mbappe gets sold, Monaco get a selling clause around about 35 million euros, so around about 30 million pounds at least. That's why I think PSG rejected that deal, and I think now they realize that they need a bit more so they don't have to lose a bit of a loss. So now, come to play, they need to get a figure around about 180 million euros. You know, that is probably what they need to have so they can have a bit of money to spend on during the season or next summer, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think that in a league where you've just brought Messi into it, I think that like the heart in me thinks that maybe they could help out a little bit for the rest of the league and give Monaco that bit of money because ultimately they're going to have a couple of freak results. Every team's going to have that, but they're going to clean up, especially domestically, you would have thought. And I think that I'm sort of looking at it thinking, God, like, you know, help the league a little bit when you're bringing in the caliber of player, not only for the money that they have. You look at their other signings this summer as well. They're going to have an absolutely mental team, but I do think you're right, Carl. Ultimately, it's a business, and that they need that extra because they are going to lose. It's like anything that you'd buy and sell. You know, you're going to lose 30. You're going to want to try and make it back up somewhere. I mean, they've already made a lot more of that in Messi shirt sales, but still, it's the business acronym, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. But the thing is, when they made a lot of Messi, but most of it's going to Michael Jordan because Jordan is sponsored the club. It isn't supposed to be United, but they're sponsored the club. So Michael Jordan is getting at least that percentage of sales from the brand because it's his brand. So I think now PSG as well, I need to look very careful, and especially with the chairman now in charge of the European Club Association, this is going to get interesting because no one doesn't know because of the financial fair play rules. It's going to be reformed because he's now in charge as the chairman. He can make a lot of demands, say, let's have a luxury tax. Let's just make it a bit more transparent, but we still can spend big on signings. So this is where it's going to be interesting what PSG do. PSG holds all the cards at the moment, not just transfer-wise, but European football-wise now, because Nasser Al-Khelaifi is now the chairman of the European Club Association after, Angeli from Juventus, going his way with the two other presidents with the European Super League with Barcelona and Madrid. the situation is now that PSG holds all the cards now, domestically and European wise now.
Yeah, craziness. So it's money, and it's like you say. Even if you go back to PSG, even if the money didn't go into PSG, it goes into somewhere else. It all comes back. It's a constant. But like you said, I mean, there's been a lot of questions raised as to how financial fair play works, or does it not work at all? Does it even exist in France and whatnot? But you look at that. You've got Real Madrid, supposedly skint, as it were, can't finish a stadium, but then they're bringing bids to the table like that for Mbappe. It just makes you wonder, what do we really know and what do we really get told?
Oh, football's corrupt as fuck, mate.
Oh, absolutely.
Mate, look at the shit that's went on up here all these years. The fucking Rangers.
True.
Rangers, Hearts, my
Gretna.
club. I mean, Gretna. There's dodgy shit that's happened with Celtic in the past. It's corrupt as fuck, man, honestly. Like, it's like, it's the shaking of hands with people.
You see a team like Bury go to the wall over, tuppence, really.
Kills me, man.
You see a team like Chester years ago. I think, off memory, I might have this wrong. Something like $250,000 they needed.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, and when it does sicken you a little bit when you've got a team like Man City, obviously not too far away, and there's nothing put there to save them. But it's like you say, football's money, football's corrupt. It's the industry. I think there was a video leaked yesterday regarding somebody talking. I saw it today. He's talking about how he would create a business. He could create 21 businesses to align with one footballing owner that will be invisible from the FA anyway, so there wouldn't be a fit and profit test. I don't know whether any of you have seen the video. I'll try and find the link for you. If not, but yeah, so he's basically talking about how he would create them 21 businesses as them 21 partners, and then the man at the top would never actually be seen, heard of, because he doesn't effectively exist.
He doesn't exist. Yeah. It's like I was watching the kickoff on the True Geordie thing. They were talking about transfers of Willian and David Luiz, and something to do with those transfers. They've got hotels in the West End of London, and it's something to do with I don't know the guy's name at Arsenal that's above Edu. It's not Josh Concrete, it's someone else.
It's one of those directors. I think I know who you mean. It's one of the two. Yeah. So
I just think it's mental. I mean, Mbappe's a great player. No one's going to deny that, and he'll be a dream at Madrid. But there's just something going on there.
I think the thing is, when you come out and you say that we know he wants to leave, but effectively we're not going to let him leave yet. I mean, it's like, as Carl said earlier, are they actually holding out for this extra 30 million? Which it seems ludicrous in the grand scheme of things, but it would ring true. That's obviously what it is. They want the money that they're going to lose, which just seems mad when you've got a bottomless pit. But sometimes that's not enough.
I think with the owners at PSG, I think it's a bit of a thing where, well, we paid this for you, we want that back, and we're not going to make a loss. I think it's a pure, how can I put it? It's like an owner thing with them.
Yeah.
Not wanting to lose money on it. I mean, I think it's pretty much, quite similar to Harry Kane. Daniel Levy's going, it's 160 million or fuck off. You know what I mean? It's because they've invested a lot of money as well, Spurs, in their team, and they're supposedly going for OR from, is it Lyon or Marseille?
From Lyon. From Lyon. Yeah, exactly. And it's especially with some of the players will have to go, one or two of them, because they're not being good enough for Spurs. But at least Daniel Levy's played, stuck to his guns and fair play to it, because I don't see that move to much happen. I think Man City really, really caught this up, because I don't know how you let a player like Aguero go and you had no backup plan, and you looked at it was either Grealish or Kane. They went for Grealish, but the thing is, they're paying Grealish transfer in installments over the next 3 years.
No, I don't think it is.
No, but for what I heard from what Tifo said today, because I watched the video, there was claims that it's true that they're paying it in 3 installments. City did not put the full money down. They never did. They just put it in installments, which is a bit surprising because I thought they paid the full. Yeah, which is a bit surprising because I didn't think. I thought they paid it full outright, and I thought, oh, they must have some money. But
that's how City do it, though. They're not stupid, because what they'll do is if they spread the payments over, you know, they could go to Tottenham and go, listen, there's 80 million for Kane just now.
Mm.
But Tottenham will want it in cash. Like, you know, they wanted for Bale, they wanted for Berbatov, Carrick, Modric, you know.
Yeah.
It's all, these transfer fees are fucking mental as well. I mean, Neymar was what, 200 million? Well, he went
but the problem is,
200
PSG couldn't pay that. The problem is, PSG couldn't pay that because it had to be Neymar's representative to pay for it because the Spanish FA refused it. They refused to PSG to pay the money outright. So it had to be Neymar's representative to pay that money. That's how that deal happened. I'm like, you know, allegedly, yeah.
Yeah. You're never going to see that proof on it, are you?
No.
Nah,
never. It's just like when how long ago when Ronaldo, Kaká, Benzema, and all that went to Madrid in the one summer.
Yeah.
United got 90 million up front. Was it 90 million?
80 million altogether.
80 million was all up front. That's the only way United would entertain it.
Yeah.
Not that those yank gets fucking reinvested. We got a Valencia, Oberton, and Michael Owen. But
because you were linked with Benzema that summer as well, as I recall him. But he went to Madrid. Yeah,
he was always going to Madrid. And now he's signed another 2-year deal at Madrid. Going on to like Ronaldo. Anyone think he could actually play for City?
No.
Sometimes you look at a squad and you think surely somebody somewhere will just draw a line and say, I think we've got enough. I mean, what it'll bring to the club, obviously, you know, what it'll bring to the Premier League, what it'll bring to that rivalry, what it'll bring to shirt sales, everything like that is obviously, you know, astronomical. But I think sometimes you just look at a team and you just think like, yes, you know, I think we're very lucky to be living through Messi and Ronaldo. I'm not the biggest fan of comparing them. I think it's nice to have both of them in our lifetime. But even still, somebody must be sitting there thinking, well, actually, does it cause more problems selection-wise? Does it cause more problems? Where do you fit him in? Like, does it just cause problems as a whole, or is it just bring him in, now look what we've got? But it'd be interesting to see how they actively pursue that with his, you know, his previous Man United links, because that's going to be, you know, he did a lot of Man United, you know, and you just wonder. And I'm sure Fergie's going to be in his ear at some point.
Oh yeah,
asking questions as to why he's even why it's been rumored, but I can't see it happening personally. I just can't. I'd be surprised.
Yeah, Sean is right 100% actually that one, because like you said, the last time we had something like Ronaldo. I think when Tevez joined from Manchester United to the City, that caused tensions with that billboard.
Yeah,
you want to see that billboard happen again?
Sorry, boys.
You know, so it's like it just causes tension with the two clubs, and it can't happen. And I just don't see Ronaldo going to City. Yes, Juventus what £25 million, but if you bring Ronaldo to Man City, the problem is you have to sacrifice some players that might have to leave, like Bernardo Silva, who has been treated pretty much poorly, and you know, and can't even you know, when you buy Grealish, there's a lot of questions at City. How many players will have to sell to meet, you know, to fit Ronaldo in? And you can't fit them all in.
No, I think for me, like as I say, like, you know, not too much of a comparison between the actual two players, but like if City were signing anybody this summer, I would have liked them to have signed Messi purely to see him in the Premier League. Seen Ronaldo do it. It's not an either player. It's just I just would have loved to see Messi in the Premier League at some point to just see how would he have got on, how would he fit in, what would how would it go for him. But I think when they've spent so well, we say they've spent big on Grealish. Obviously, the instalments help. But their wage bill alone, like you said, where do they have to cut, and what sacrifices do they have to make, not only on the field but more importantly off the field, to actually get a player in now as Ronaldo when their wage bills obviously, especially where, let's be honest, there's FFP, but I don't think it's taken too seriously for the big boys. I think they'd find ways and means around it if they needed to, but it'd still be a nightmare, surely.
Yeah, I think it would raise too many flags at happening financially.
It does. I mean, especially a couple of years ago when they're trying to get Alexis Sanchez and they couldn't afford it because of the financial fair play, and then the same thing with Harry Maguire, couldn't afford him, and then and they still spent big on a defender at some point.
Yeah.
So I don't get the situation with City and how do they move that, especially have image rights and stuff. And then most of them would move into that structure of paying them a bit more. So at the moment, I just feel like the Ronaldo thing, I don't think it will happen. I think he'll stay at Juventus. I just can't, especially how can you afford his wage?
Yeah. As you say, it's the other things that come with it as well. This isn't just as simple now as your American system of trading players. And it also isn't as simple as 20 years ago where players move from club to club. Now you've got image rights, agent fees that are bigger than ever. You've got clauses in contracts that, probably weren't there 10, 15 years ago. So it's like you say, there's so much more to consider in that kind of a deal that I just don't see it like practically happening.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be
very
interesting to see it happen in terms of the billboard situations, the cross-city divide, his past. But other than that, I wouldn't be too interested.
Yeah.
I think he'd flop at City, personally. I don't think he's the right type of player for their system.
Yeah, it's a tough one because when you think of a player of his calibre and his ability, you think you'd put him into any team in the world and he'd adapt. And I think him being able to adapt would carry a very long way. But I think it goes back to, if it doesn't click, there's numerous other options in other areas. And then that causes a big headache as to should we have stuck instead of twisting. And I think that's where, if there's even a date where I think that you can't date his talent, and I'm sure he'd do fine. I don't know whether he'd go and set the league on fire or whether he'd flop or whichever. And I probably wouldn't like to sort of hazard a guess at it because it could go either way. But I think if it does go the other way, with the talent and the other players that you've got on offer, it becomes a massive headache. Because as soon as you drop him, it's like Andy's just dropped now. But as soon as you drop him, it's hard. It's a massive headache. It's media, it's press, it's pressure, it's everything. It's huge.
It is actually. It's a good point. You're right, and just like you said, it is going to be how do you fit in tactically Pep's system. I think what Man City needs to do now, they're going to have to go with that squad for this current season. And I think next summer, they need to get a striker. If you're going to make that decision straight after the end of the season. You knew that you were not going to extend Aguero's contract. Why did you not start the process early of finding a replacement? And you would have thought Ronaldo would be on that name until just the last 12 hours when Kane today decided it's now decided to stay at Spurs. So there needs to be clarity of what City needs to do properly, because I don't know how they really flopped that one completely. I really don't.
I think the thing is with that as well, with the striker situation, you've got a player in Aguero who is essentially winding down. I mean, I'm a huge fan of him, absolutely love him, but essentially he's thinking, well, I want to go and play with Messi. I'd like to go and play in Spain. He's going to go over. He's going to go and play in Spain with Messi. That's fantastic. And for whatever reason, then that's turned on its head for reasons that obviously I don't think Messi or anybody really could foresee coming.
No.
and Messi ends up in France, and then City have not got no striker. I don't think Aguero's necessarily the answer as such. I'm not saying bring him back and it's it's all sorted, but it's like you say, Aguero's gone. The process is starting extremely late in the day for Ronaldo at a very expensive cost, and then who you would have thought was prime target number one in Harry Kane has had a dubious couple of weeks where you think, right, City, you're going to sweep in now. Maybe Spurs won't stand as firm as we thought they would. And then he's pledged his allegiance today. He's got a contract, I think, till 2024, so he won't be leaving on a free next season. So it's now a case of if City want a striker that's proven with a record or spoken about and a big household name, it's pay the money, or you go into the rest of this season now, or well up until January, with the squad that they've got.
Yeah.
Yeah,
when Chelsea are firing as they are as well.
Ings.
Yeah, Ings. That was a few weeks ago when we were on the when I was last on the podcast, and the Ings transfer came through pretty much out of absolutely nowhere.
It was mental.
Yeah. But I don't know whether Danny Ings. I mean, Jamie Vardy at Leicester. He'd
never leave Leicester now. I don't think.
I don't think he would now. But I mean, if you're looking for something in the league with goals and you've got the money to spend, you're trying to chase whatever you can. But I mean, for me though, I want to sort of be as honest as possible that I never believe a player when they say they're staying. I don't think many people do, and it wouldn't surprise me if we were looking at Harry Kane at Man City in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, it's true.
Players pledge their allegiance. It is what it is. It's words on paper, until it's proven otherwise.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely with that one. Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more from what you said, Sean. And yeah, we'll see if they still talk about him after the transfer window closes.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get Andrew dropped out, and hopefully he'll drop back in.
He'll be on to them again tomorrow.
And hopefully he can still hear us.
I think everything's gone from at the moment. Big technical difficulties at Andy HQ.
Yeah. Fucking typical. Get right into a bloody good chat and I'm getting kicked out my own bloody stream, man. It's not as bad as it was. It's not as bad as it was a couple of weeks ago. To be fair, I was getting kicked out every 60 seconds.
Yeah, you were actually.
I've not got quite as bad a delay yet, but it's getting there.
But no, see, the thing is, even with Ronaldo, right, I can't see it happening because he's United links. Never mind the money and all that. But we've seen stranger things happen. I mean, Jadon Sancho now plays for Manchester United. Carlos Tevez, we have seen stranger things happen. See, the thing is, if I was City, right, I would have kept Aguero on for another year and went for Haaland.
And that still could be a long-term thing. I think they're still looking at Haaland. But they've also got one decent player that looked good last season in most top competitions is Liam Delap. Roy Delap's son. And I'm a bit surprised that he's not being given a bit of a time in the Premier League to see if he's good enough for the up front. I know it says he's going to be the best player in the world. Don't get me wrong, but
somebody fill that position.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if either they keep Delap or send him on loan to a championship club and see how it does all Premier League club, then I think Pep needs to assess that one carefully. Do they have Delap? And then may have sell Jesus and bring Haaland in, and then Delap can learn from Haaland. We don't know, and I think that's what City need to look very careful with this one, because you can't have a player that has huge potential is going to be wasted. Because you see what happened with Sancho, where Sancho should be in that team 2 years ago, and then when he sold to Borussia Dortmund, you can see the talent was there, and it proved why Man United bought him for £72 million. So that's why I think the City needs to not make this mistake. A player like Liam Delap, who is coming through the ranks, has been doing well for what people are saying. So there needs to be a question of what Pep does next season.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it, that you think sometimes that it leaves that sort of sickening feeling that sometimes the names aren't big enough and they're not spoken about enough. Like, you've got Delap there who's coming through the ranks. He's been spoken about in England, in around Manchester, and he's coming through nicely and could be a really good, project and bring him through. But you just fear that they don't gamble on that because it's not big enough. Like Phil Foden, for example. Foden's impact was instant. The Carabao Cup when they beat Villa, his impact was especially when he's compared to Grealish that day. That it was plain for all to see. You're throwing the lap in for some cup competitions, and it's constantly, well, it's only this, it's only that, it's only so and so, it's lower league opposition or whatnot. But because Foden, is a young English player, he's brought in and made such an impact, he stayed in there, and you just wonder whether players like Sancho and Delap don't maybe get that chance because they're not big enough names. They want something bigger, and I think that's a real shame as well. I think that's a shame.
With that, right, I look at United with Greenwood and I think we've been unbelievable with him. Our little star boy's, 2 from 2 this season. He's third on the list of all-time United goal scorers as a teenager. I think he's only bested by Norman Whiteside and possibly George Best. I know Norman Whiteside's number 2. I can't remember number 1. I'd probably think that is George Best. And I just think you throw kids in. See, if you throw kids in, they'll give you everything. Look at every team that does it. They've done it so well. And I'm a huge advocate of it. At any club, throw the kids in. I just love seeing it. Even when I remember when Hearts were getting relegated years ago under Gary Locke, and you had, Patterson and Billy King and all that. It was, as much as it's painful to see because they absolutely hammered Hibs the end of that season, you're like, there's a team for the next 2-3 years there.
Yeah.
That Dundee United team with Suter and Armstrong and Gold and Gary Mackay-Steven and that. I even look at the Celtic team now. So many young players there, which got to be pleasing after Thursday, Sean. Wednesday.
There's some there's some young players in there now, but there's a player like Dembele that I've watched him for a few years, and it's crazy because you do think like somebody's watching it every week, and he's not in the first team door, then he's not necessarily there, and there's been a bit of a grey area with strikers and Edward and even I know it's essentially the same position, but like someone like Nacham and that, it's you do think that when somebody's knocking on the door, and especially when they've made a debut, and there's that abundance of talent there, I do find it a bit strange that he's not maybe a weekly figure, to be quite honest. But then, I mean, I remember the first time I ever saw him playing, I just thought he was fantastic, and that was when it was a good few years ago now.
Was that against Hearts?
No, like when I watched him, I've seen things when he played for the academy, and I think his debut was his first team debut was Hearts, I'm sure. But I think that when seeing him play even as a kid, like you're looking at highlight reels and stuff, and you're thinking, my God, it's incredible. But yeah, and obviously he's dual nationality as well, so you'd like to think that they'd be trying to push him more towards Scotland than he would. He's from what I know, his best mates with Jude Bellingham. I think there might only be one decision that he'll go with because they played together at England. Because he's played for England since I think it was under 14, might even be before that, and he's played for Scotland by the same token.
So he's done what Ryan Giggs done.
At this age group, you don't need to till you competitively capped, or until you're going to be competitively capped. You don't need to make the decision, do you?
No.
And I think it's a dangerous situation for that. But yeah, I think that, as you say, young player wise, lads that are coming through, I think it's really important to give them a chance. Sometimes it's not always practical, and football is a results industry, but it's a results game. Managers, they have pressure and stresses that they need to get, money in, money out, You know, it's a very short career. But yeah, I do think that, especially, you know, like when a homegrown rule came to England, for example, but one of the homegrown players is 42-year-old Richard Wright.
That's wrong. I think it should.
You know what I
I think
mean?
there should be a
You know,
age cap on it. I think it
Yeah,
should
but
be
you're right.
a homegrown from your own academy, personally.
Yeah, but you're
So,
right. I think that you know, you should have people coming in.
I think that will change as well because of the impact of Brexit as well too. I think that all may change because I think the FA are looking into this and it may be accountable that they may have to say you have to have players from your academy in that 25-man squad or whatever what the limit's going to be. So I think there is going to be some changes coming in or happening in the next few weeks actually. So watch this space. It probably will happen during the season that will make changes.
Yeah, that's why I keep calling Man United Brexit FC. You know what I mean? You go through the squad, always signed a lot of British players.
Yeah.
You know, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Dan James, you know, playing Scott McTominay continuously. Greenwood's came through. Haaland's got dual nationality, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah,
he's actually from Leeds, isn't he?
Born in Leeds.
He's born in Leeds. Yeah.
Big Leeds fan as well, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Because his dad's a fucking cunt.
I know you don't like it. I know you.
That's it's just the Keno connection, man. It's just what he done to Keno.
I know. I understand. You know that. I know it's a bit of a big situation.
Here, I should have seen fucking Haaland a couple of years ago when he was at Molde, but he was in talks to go to Salzburg. Hibs got Molde in the Europa League. It was Lenny's first game. He was actually in the stands, or no, he got sent to the stands. You know, Lenny's first home game at Hibs, and he got sent to the stands for going absolutely nuts at the ref. Drew 0-0. Did we run 0-0? We must have, because they beat us 2-0 over there, and Haaland scored a double. He absolutely ragdolled Efe Ambrose.
Efe Ambrose getting ragdolled. I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I know. Never. But no, just that whole homegrown thing, I just think it should be a thing for all clubs. Never mind where you're from. I mean, you look at
definitely.
I think you look at the great, you look at the '67 Lisbon team. They were all grew. What was it? It was
5 miles.
Parkhead.
Yeah.
Within 5 miles of Parkhead. 58 with the Busby Babes, and then obviously 68 when Busby finally won the European Cup. There's something about it.
Yeah.
But I think we spoke about all of this enough. I think we should get on to actual teams, how we're all doing. Sean, Blues, man, 5-0 against Luton.
Superb.
Absolutely fucking brilliant, man.
Big underdogs on the day. I don't know whether you saw what price you were, but it's sickening. We were to 5 on the day, which is mental to think. It was 14-5 on the day. But I think Luton, they were very good in lockdown, good at home. I think they had a few results in that, but I think that the problem that they have is everybody likes going there because it's you've probably seen photos of it. It's a very small end, very low roof. It's a big,
it's a shed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the middle of houses. It's one that away fans look forward to, and also it's one that the tickets that get distributed go to your fans at your top priority. So they're hardcore that are there, and I think that with no away fans there, they're a good set of supporters themselves, but with no away fans there, I think they had some good home form. Which I think I understood why they were favourites for it. But I think we've had a brilliant start. We spoke about the last time I was on Sheffield United. I think I said it wouldn't surprise me if we went and won it 1-0 or lost it 4-0. You go win it 1-0.
Yeah, so great result.
0-0. You've taken massive pressure off yourself to get a result in your game because you've already got 3 on the board. Then you get a point. Not a bad result. Bournemouth then essentially becomes a free hit. Probably going to get promoted. It's a home game. If you get anything out of it, nice enough. So that sort of becomes the free hit. So you go into Luton, you're thinking your bad start now looks incredibly better, and then you go and hit them for 5 with what looks like a masterclass from Tanith Chong, who missed out on the team of the week. But then you had four other lads in there, and Bowyer is manager of the week, and you're just thinking like, if we'd have gone and won it 1-0, it would have been an incredible result. But to go and to see Chong getting substituted with home fans applauding, when I've been a home fan applauding players before because you've been in awe of what that player's done, it's nice to be on the other end of that. You know, it's just such a shame that he's on loan. But
there's a chance here. I think there's a chance you could keep him.
I mean, to be fair,
another team come in for him.
I think that the bigger worry for me, not that he wouldn't get re-recorded, I think it'd be somebody else coming in, to be honest, because he can do everything. Yeah, he works so hard, and I think that at Blues that mentality as fans is that if you dig in, you don't care if you've not got if you're not the most technically able, if you're not this, that, and the other. But if you dig in, it's a fan base that will really, take to you. And I think that fortunately for him, he's got everything, so it makes it even easier to love him. But yeah, I think that superb result. Definitely didn't see 5 coming. But I did fancy us. I think we're all right on the road. So yeah, sitting fairly pretty.
Yeah,
beaten last night in the cup, but I think that we don't need to win something that we've already won.
In the last decade as well, so you're all right.
Still on.
I actually did fancy us because Luton have lost a couple of good players. Losing James Collins to Cardiff was a huge one for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely despised the guy when he was at Hibs. He was actually at Hibs when we got relegated, and I despised him.
Some players, they just don't work, do they?
No. And I thought, see, when I seen you've got points on the board already, and I thought, on you go on.
Yeah.
5-0, I didn't expect, Christ. No way did I expect 5-0.
No.
I don't think you ever expect your team to win 5-0.
Away from home especially, it's but by all accounts, fantastic. We scored a good couple of goals. It was nice to see Scott Hogan get on the score sheet as well, because pre-lockdown he was absolutely incredible. And then when we came back from the lockdown, he struggled a bit, and he's been there or thereabouts. But it's just nice just one of them all round ones that if you could dream of the day, it would have been that.
Yeah,
and it was probably that and more, to be honest. So it just sets you up now, just sets you up moving forward. We go to Barnsley away on Saturday. Another winnable game. Another team last season surprised a lot of people. A lot of people. But again, another game where you're thinking anything there, it's just more. It's more points on the board.
Yeah. Who's up next for you, lot?
Hey, we got Barnsley away Saturday.
Fancy it?
I think you have to, really. I think when you're going into it with a bit of form, I think you go, especially as an away side, because you maybe play with that. Strangely, you maybe play with a little bit more freedom, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because you don't have to dictate the game, do you? So it does make a big difference.
See, the thing is, I remember when Scott Hogan signed for Villa. When he signed for big money for Villa, because he was at Brentford. He was at.
Yeah.
See, at Brentford, and he was flying, and he couldn't get going at Villa at all.
No.
I mean, I think he had like 4 or 5 loan deals before. He's joined us permanently now, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'm like, what's happening? Because when he signed for Villa, I thought, right, they're going to get promoted. He's going to fire them to promotion, and he struggled to score goals. And I think he's found a new home at St Andrews.
Yeah, definitely.
It's cracking to see you back there as well. That's cracking to see you there and on your own as well, because you've been sharing that ground with Coventry for the last sort of 2 years, haven't you?
Yeah. It hasn't come without problems though. 2 stands shut due to the building work or lack of it, as it would appear. So bit of a difficult few days before the start of the season. leading up to the Stoke game at home, it was about 5 days before the game, it was communicated to fans that the Tilton and the Cop, the upper of them stands where our bulk of the season ticket holders were, and are, can't be in there because the structure is unsafe and the building work didn't get completed and the materials delivered. So they had to move them fans out. But the problem being the other 2 stands available could only house just under 4,000, and there were 7,000 people needing tickets.
Jeez.
So it was a balloted home game. And I think the problem, it really took the shine off it because people had been to Sheffield United and it sold out fairly early on in the priority list. So you people that maybe didn't get to that are season ticket holders, the people that brought match day tickets, they all wanted tickets. So anybody who brought a match day ticket was refunded. And it was 7,000 season ticket holders in the ballot. So what could have been a brilliant day to get people back into St Andrews and get, after lockdown and whatnot, just had the shine taken completely off it. And I don't, and we haven't recovered. And I think that's what's damaging about it. We've lost to Bournemouth and we've lost last night with a crowd of 5,000. There's a doom and gloom about the place at the moment at home because you can't. There's people that have paid £600 for a season ticket, for example, or £400, and they're being put in a worse seat. They're pissed off. They don't want to be there. They don't know if they've got a ticket. There's a lot of bad stuff happening. So when we're going away from home with this core 2,500 diehards, the atmosphere is there, and I think it's feeding back. Nobody wants to playing us, to know that there's problems behind the scenes. But there obviously is problems there. So I mean, worryingly, it wouldn't surprise me if we ended up ground sharing with Cov in a weird twist of events. Because something tells me I've got a horrible feeling that it was written into the contracts anyway.
Yeah,
so they're saying that
the Rico's a hell of a stadium as well. Rico's a hell of a stadium.
It's big. It just 4 big single tier stands, but it wouldn't get down well. But with the damage being at the core, they need to do something to the bottom of the stand because it's effectively 1 tier. You can access the lower blocks from the upper blocks. So they need to put a metal railing along the curvature and then have everyone in the upper. They reckon that it'll be done by the 12th of September, but I don't trust that whatsoever, to be honest.
That's my dad's birthday, funnily enough.
But I'd love to see that full again and get people in and get a good home atmosphere there. So at the moment, I think I'm happier going to Barnsley Saturday. They've not had an amazing start.
They're a weird club.
The strange club, because I wrote them off last season. I thought that was.
We all did.
Yeah, they were down.
At one point they were pushing to the playoffs. They were up there. But for now, they've not had a great start, but which obviously does cause you problems as a fan because then you start thinking, well, they haven't had a great start. They probably want a home game.
Yeah, fans all back in. And
I think got a new addition, as long as it's not a case of after the Lord Mayor's show, then, PC.
Hey. Representing. You're not taking over this show.
Right, yeah. I just need to try and find a suitable spot that I can represent in every angle. There we go. Right.
With his living mug as well.
Just to take it even further. There we go. There we go.
Oh, for Christ!
No. He's only short of a tracksuit and a team bus.
Yeah.
That can be arranged. There's one in the cupboard.
Oh God. That's the first time I've seen Paul since we were in a taxi together 2 weeks ago. And we were absolutely guttered.
You know what the worst thing is, right? I was at the garage getting a fucking scran. Instead of getting a scran, I walked away with 20 LMB and a fucking lighter. Needless to say, tobacco doesn't taste that great. But
you did get juice because you handed me a bottle of water.
I can't mind that.
Fuck.
I was leaving the garage and I was like, where the fuck did I go? Because I went to look trying to get a taxi with somewhere else to come get you.
Oh, absolute
Wonderful.
mental scenes.
Well, basically, fucked it because he left me, right? And I was like, oh, for you. And then I thought, he's not that way. Surely he's not walked back towards Livy. So I went back towards the Dreadnought where we were in Bathgate, which is further into Bathgate, obviously. Could not find them worth a fuck. If I tried phoning everybody, nobody would answer.
No, nobody would.
Nightmare.
And eventually I went, fuck this, I'm walking home.
Walked into each other.
Literally bumped into him outside the train station.
Yeah. To go sidetracked, right, for that night, do you remember that bald guy that was like, looked like something out of The Walking Dead? That was running towards us? Before we were due to jump in the taxi?
I remember the 4 boys that stopped me and asked me for a fag, and I said, I didn't smoke, and they go, what the fuck is that in your hands then? And I was like...
No. See when we went back to the taxi rank? See when we went back to the taxi rank and everyone fucked off, they got their taxis.
Oh, aye.
Do you remember that bald lad who started running towards and I was like, get in the fucking taxi, run.
Oh, aye.
It's like a scene at The Walking Dead. And
it was like,
and I was just like, I shat myself.
I remember it now. I made it
now. Right. We're just finishing off Sean's part on Birmingham going to Barnsley away.
No, that's probably it for me on the Birmingham front. Go there on Saturday, and I don't see why we can't get a good result. But we've just scored 5 goals, and it worries me that we go and lose 3-0.
Sod's law, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Sod's law.
That's it.
To be fair, before you move on for the Birmingham lot, I never watched the actual game. I didn't see the highlights. But there's a guy on YouTube that I watched the odd occasional video. Is it Davo Blues?
Yeah, Davo. Yeah, good lad, Davo.
Yeah, aye, and there's always I goes, Mamas! He loves that. Yeah, all day, man.
Jeremy, absolute hero. Jeremy, absolute hero. I think he's probably not missed a game in that. You know, God, I wouldn't even probably like to hazard a guess at it. But yeah, I've known him since for as long as I've been going. You hear him before you see him, and you just know, like him, then. Jeremy's about. That's it. Yeah,
it's like Paul. Then honestly, you hear the cunt before you see him.
Yeah, because Davo is he's the club's support liaison officer as well, as it happens, which is quite cool because he started his vlogs going to the games, and then he actually works for the club, and then he's just kept his vlogs going, which is quite good because he's obviously still on the fan side of it, and then in the back office, like so. Not the fellow who shouts "Come on, Blues," the other fella.
Yeah. No, but it's that boy with the afro, and he keeps coming out, and he's like,
"Oh, he's brilliant."
And I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're doing that back to front, mate, but I don't get his tell him yet. But
it's the camera.
Yeah. No, I'm joking. Jesus Christ.
Carl, we'll get moving on to the Leeds. Drawn against, it was Everton, wasn't it?
It was Everton, yeah.
I said in my prediction video, I fancied you 2-0. Right. I fucking miles wrong, mate. Always going to be goals in that, wasn't there?
It was always going to be goals in that because the thing is, I think we played a different kind of formation that we don't play as much. I think we did play the 3-1-3 type. Look.
Again?
Well, we did play that one against Man United. We always play that.
That's what it looked like.
Before, yeah, I know. But here's the thing. We somehow dominated possession, but Everton were quite clinical on the counter-attack. And I think we were getting that first penalty where you could see that. I thought, right, here we go. And, you know, I have to admit, it has been. I think Leeds did redeem himself in the game to get that winner from that late equaliser from Rafinha, which was huge because
what a fucking rocket air strike, man!
It was, and I think, like I said, he's going to be our talisman at some point because after if we don't beat games, I think what Bielsa said after last week, the other week against Manchester United, I think he couldn't sugarcoat after that 5-1 defeat. He couldn't sugarcoat because he knew he went wrong the way. And I think we played Phillips back on last week. You know, it could have helped more, but I think that team was a bit disappointed in a way because we gave away the penalty, which was stupid because we knew VAR was going to review it, and I thought, but I think
minute it goes to it, you're getting the pen, eh?
Yeah,
exactly. You're going to either
it
concede or get it.
Yeah, it surprised me. I think our whole form was going to be huge for us. Now we have the fans back here, but we need to be better defensive wise because we have not been really good. I think we're not having Llorente in. That's not make no excuse, but you have Cooper who is so experienced and they either strike or click or even coach play. But the problem is at the moment we're not just got a settled team at the moment, which is disappointing. But I'm just surprised with the transfer. Yeah, I'm surprised with the transfer situation. Even Bielsa said we're not doing any more business. Don't be surprised because we are looking at one or two more players, looking at least one or two more players at the right opportunity. So don't be surprised by next Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll have at least one or two more in at least.
Yeah,
I just think at the moment now, with we can't rely on Bamford for the goals. We need to be a bit more better. I think Clint
can't rely on Bamford for goals. He scored 20 goals last season, man.
I know. But that's the thing. But we don't want to have him as being that one by himself. Is the only goals because I think the other players did score goals more than 10 goals. It was mainly game. So we can't depend on him mainly. We need to be very critical, especially with Jack Harrison now. Did well last season. I think he was the only one that had at least 10 plus goals last season. I think, other than Bamford. We just need to be better with that. And I think we do need a winger. I think Costa is a bit questionable. Helder Costa.
Yeah.
We need another winger. So let's see how it goes. But, the last night game against Crew, a very good game. Crew played quite well. I had to give credit to Crew. They played quite decently. And I think I think Harrison came to them in the second half late. Really good win. I think we needed a huge boost because we did play nearly a full strength squad. So I think now we need to be better now. This in the next game against Burnley on Sunday because it's a huge game for us because we need to get this win.
You need 3 points on the board, don't you?
We do before the international break because I have to admit if we don't get the 3 points, there's gonna be questions now. But Bielsa. This is the first time Bielsa has been questioned for quite a long time about he's gone. Not thinking about when to change. He kind of went back to his old ways. Before, we don't want him to do that. And I think...
Yeah, he's a stubborn little shit, isn't he?
Yeah. And I don't want him to be... I want him to be stubborn, but not too stubborn to be like, I'm not going to change the team. If you have to tweak it, you need to change 1 or 2 players to try to make the difference. And I think that game against Man United, when we just lost it completely and we equalised. And we don't want to keep doing that. I think this is a huge season. And we're talking about the second season syndrome. It's going to happen to us. And people say no, but... Sometimes be careful what you wish for sometimes. And I think we just need to be very careful with that. I think if we could get 1 or 2 more players in, I think we'll be happy. That is it. And I think Bielsa will have to go with the squad. I think with Preveda is now going to Blackburn on loan. And there's a reason why they want, because they saw what Harvey Elliott's done, being back at Liverpool. He did well this past weekend, 2-0 against Burnley. They want to see that same effect on Preveda, but that's going to be interesting if Preveda can live up to his expectations. So I kind of mixed emotions with that one. I think we just need to be better. We need to have a stability of the squad, not playing the same 11, of course, but tweak that tactics as well too when we have to play against certain teams.
Yeah. The thing is, I think it's the first time Bielsa's been questioned since he's fucked promotion the first time his first season. Yeah,
it is questions now, and it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise he's been questioned. I think it was coming at some point, but he knows he can't hide behind it. He knows he can't, and I think that's why he needs to be admitted. I think he realized the minute not playing Phillips during that first game against Manchester United. I think he could have played a bit of a part in the second half if he came on, but now he was back in. I just feel like we just need to be calm and down and see. I think Leeds are doing some stuff behind the scenes, like I said, but Bielsa needs to realize that he can't have this small squad. It doesn't, especially with this season as well. I'm not saying, we don't need to have a big squad, but we need a reason about that we can have game changers in that squad as well.
Yeah. No, I get it. Totally get it. Because on that bench, you look at it and you go, even at the United game, you're going, it's just youngsters on the bench. And Phillips.
Yeah.
youngsters, Phillips and Costa.
Shackleton was on there as well. Yeah, Shackleton was there. Somerville was on that. Get that as well. So it's not the bench what we expect, to make a game changer. I do think we'll have to play one or two of your youngsters this season as well, because it's not going to be surprised because Bielsa is not going to be either signing quantity players that's going to make the bench. So we have to be clear on that. And I feel like at the moment we just got to live for this, see how it goes. If we get either Lewis or Bradford Russell, it looks like that deal's kind of calming down. It's been quiet late the last couple of days. I think with the Noah Lang situation from Game Club Bruges, I think that's going to be 50-50 on the last day of the transfer window if we can get him or not at a good price.
Yeah. And the thing is, bringing in foreign players now, it matters what list they're on when it comes to red, amber or green list. And how they're going to isolate and all that. I think that's part of the problem for you, is because it could be cheaper bringing in a player from abroad, but you're going to be waiting 2-3 weeks to play him.
Yeah, I know.
The problem United had last season with Cavani.
Yeah.
You don't want another one of them.
The many problems They're coming from another country. Legally.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. And we've been linked to one of the players that was at Barca last season on loan. I think he's one of the American youngsters have come through at Atlanta United. I think they want him like 50 million pounds. I know US is on the amber list, so which means that if they're vaccinated, he don't have, as long as they tested negative, fine. I think Belgium's still on that green list as well, too. But the problem is at the moment, we just need to find the right player. I think Bielsa has to make a decision by Friday if you just tell the club, say, look, let's spend a little bit more on Lewis O'Brien, just get him in, let's pay the valuation that Huddersfield wants. And I think that will be done and dust. That will be done and dusted because we do need another midfielder. I think, like I said, we need someone that not just come with fillers, but very like for like. We need someone like that because we can't rely on Phillips and that defensive midfielder. We can't as much. We now know that Bielsa is being caught in this situation now because now other teams can exploit that if Phillips don't play. So they need to have a like for like midfielder, either that can play next to Phillips in the central midfield or actually play just in front of him. Yeah.
No, I get it. You're just a bit light on players, aren't you? And losing,
we are.
Not having Alioski in that, it does affect you. That one or two players affects you.
It does. I think the Alioski situation had a huge effect because he was versatile. So no matter if he played in that midfield, he will either play in that left back as well too. So it is a bit of a disappointment that we've not resolved that Alioski situation, which is why we've been light in that midfield area.
Yeah. And if we move on to my lot, Man United, Jesus, that was. I didn't like the changes he made between the Leeds and the Southampton game. I would have just went the exact same team, but supposedly McTominay couldn't play any longer than half hour. To me, if you can play half an hour, you can play an hour. You know what I mean? But I don't know if it's down to COVID, fitness or whatever. Wasn't really released, and we started sluggish against Southampton, and we got caught out, and bloody right we got caught out. And was it a Phil Fernandes potato? Doesn't matter. Fred making absolute arse of things as normal. Fucking well done, big man. You fucking scored against Leeds, but you fucked it against Southampton. Just fucking get out of my club, man. Honestly, drives me fucking insane, that guy. And also we get to 1-1 in the second half. We bring Sancho on. We just lost all momentum. I don't know what happened. I didn't even expect us to score. So after we lost that momentum, I was like, right, I'm gonna go get washing done. Put on a washing. I was just like, you can see where it's going. This is going to just bore out to a draw. And got to question the manager on his team selection and why he wouldn't throw in Donny van de Beek. He's threw Lingard on. the guy we're wanting to get rid of, supposedly. It's a fucking point. As much as, Jesse's been a great servant of the club, he's not going to create a goal against a team that are playing a low block. You bring in a Van de Beek, you know what I mean? You bring in a player who's technically brilliant. But I'm not going to moan too much. We've smashed Leeds 5-1. Transfer business has been, decent. And, we're still unbeaten. But I think City have now laid down a gauntlet again. Beating Norwich, what was it, 5-6-0? Is it 5-0?
5-0, yeah.
Yeah. Liverpool looked brilliant, which is I kind of predicted Liverpool would look brilliant again. So we just got to pick it up. We've got to pick it right up, and I think we've got to go out and get either Camavinga, Neves, or Sol Niguez. And supposedly the Sol Niguez is possibly a loan to buy deal, which I think could work with the Paul Pogba situation with his contract.
Yeah, it could work, and it's interesting because I know Chelsea's been linked with him. But we all thought a couple of weeks ago that we knew he was going to leave Atletico Madrid, but we all thought he was going to Barcelona.
He was playing at left back the other night.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, what the fuck are you doing to him? He signed a 9-year deal at Atletico. He's going to be the next big thing, and I think
It's not
because Atletico are back to playing 4-4-2 and that, and he's not got a distinct position in that team. I'd love to see him at United. Love to see him at United. I think he'd be great at Liverpool. I think he'd be brilliant at Chelsea. He'd fit in at any of the sort of top 4 clubs in my eyes.
Yeah, no, 100% with that. Because like I said, it's surprising how he wasn't expecting. He signed a huge deal for at least nearly a decade, and now he's not being
available,
which is a bit surprising. Because deep honest, when they saw Rodri to Man City, I thought this was going to be pretty much the main focal point. Everyone thought it was, but it's just interesting how that's the tides turned over the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, because 2 years ago you thought, wow, he was the main man there, and he scored. It was an individual goal he scored last year for Atletico. I was just like, whoa. What a player. And I've just sort of never taken my eyes off him. But every time I see him watch Atletico, he's on the fucking bench. I'm like, somebody get him out of there. I mean, it's going to cost, 35 million to get him out of there. And the rumours of, Lingard going to West Ham and Rice coming the other way with cash, we're still going to be paying 100 million. As much as I think Declan Rice is a cracking player. And after watching him he was brilliant against Leicester. And a result that shocked me anyway. That 4-1 shocked me.
On it before as well, like when you look at the Premier League, it's like Leicester, Vestergaard goes in and picks up a slight knock, and Fofana breaks his
broke his
leg.
ACL he's done. Broke his leg.
I can't remember. Bad injury, and you think it's a good time to play a team like that, because I'd rather have them now than 2 games from the end. Do you know what I mean? So I think they did a solid professional job on them, really, West Ham.
David Moyes, football genius.
All of a sudden, yeah.
And also, it'd be a good deal they get Kurt Zouma. If they do get Kurt Zouma by the end of the transfer window, that would be a huge plus. I think Diop's not being his best, and I think they needed a bit of a defender like Zouma, who's not been getting much at Chelsea. So I think this will be a really good deal, because they try to get Tomori last season, but he's not going to AC Milan. So I think will be a good deal for West Ham to get Zouma, because he is a good player. He just needs games, and I think he'll get games under Moyes completely.
Oh yeah, he's supposedly Moyes' number 1 target. And just a fucking shout out to the Chelsea chief exec. She's doing a fucking great job selling these players for 30, 40, 50 million. Where the fuck did Abramovich find her? Can we get her in at United and get rid of fucking Phil Jones?
Yeah, Phil Jones does need to go. I'm not gonna lie to you. Actually, I don't know how that.
Like,
how they dealt with that.
Get rid of some of these fucking players that aren't going to play for the team. Matic, I don't mind sticking around. He's great for experience. He's done everything. But fucking hell, get rid of some of the deadwood, man. And if you're not going to play Donny van de Beek, let him go. Stop fucking his career up. He's a fucking great player. If you're not going to play him, let him go. I'd rather see him go and play well somewhere else. Honestly, because he played all the way through pre-season, and now he's not playing him. I didn't see the point. Do not see the point in being at United. I don't know if he's not an Ollie signing. Was it a board signing because he was going to Tottenham last year? I don't know what's happened there. But Donny should be fitting in there like a glove. But I don't know if it's because we've not got an actual number 6, someone to sit there against the tougher teams. But just free Donny van de Beek. Honestly, free Donny van de Beek, man.
Free Donny van de Beek.
See, the thing is, I remember years ago, right? Mourinho wouldn't play Mkhitaryan, and we all start, like, the hashtag was free Mickey. And then eventually, played him and he won us the Europa League, so who knows? But swiftly moving on from my moaning, going to move up to Scottish football, and I'm going to leave it to Sean in this brilliant 6-0 win over St Mirren.
Wow.
And open it up to Wednesday night against Alkmaar.
I feel like a bit of a fucking genius, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. I am going to stick a trumpet on my own arse and blow it here. But I think when I was first on the show, I'm not going to say this was a prediction for me, so I will rein it in a little bit. But we spoke about, especially me and Carl, the start of the month could potentially have an extremely different feeling to the end of the month.
Yeah.
And when I spoke about Postecoglou and the positives that we could take out the Hearts game, waking up on the 1st of August could be extremely different to waking up the day after this Rangers game on Sunday. Because it was doom and gloom. It was, what's it going to do? We couldn't cross a ball. But actually, the signs, if you were to rewatch that Hearts game now, the signs of the 6-0, the signs of the 6-0 on Saturday, the Dundee game, the AZ win, the Jablanet wins, that all of these signs are there that you could see. And it was frustrating to open the season as we did. But you have to expect it when you're the team that people want to play and you're playing a newly promoted side at home with fans. And you just have to sort of expect that. And it's hard. It's a hard place to go. It's difficult at the best of times. The unbeaten run ended there in front of fans when they went back to Tynecastle Park. It's it's hard, but I think that
bitched Brown.
Yeah. With everything that we said this month, it now has. We're one game away from having this month that I spoke about. This completely different month. I think the Dundee game. I think that was that it was again. It was I spoke about not becoming people's right time to play against you, and when you become that team's, it's a good time to play them, you have to fucking hammer them, and I think that was what the Dundee game was all about. The 6-0, Joe Hart clean sheet, Jablanet game. I'd literally only just said it to my missus when we sat there. Joe Hart needs 1 or 2 big saves to get the ground on its feet, and 2 seconds later he's made a double save that it might not have been the hardest save in the world, but I think we would have seen it conceded 6 months previously. Yeah, and I can turn lights on by magic as well. But yeah, I think that we would have conceded that goal, previously, and as it snowballed on, I thought we beat St Mirren. I think we've got enough there. The feel good factor at the moment. And the way that this bridging of a gap that we thought would take a long time to bridge, obviously, isn't going to take that long if we can stick at it. But
these aren't a shit.
I didn't think it'd be 6-0. Couple of howlers from the keeper, but they're not a bad side.
No, they're a
and I
good
think
side.
again, it very much felt like the good times returning, but we haven't played in front of an opposition crowd yet, and I think that will be the biggest test. Well, we have played in front of an opposition crowd, sorry, obviously at Hearts, but since this run, we're going to go to AZ tomorrow. Again, not a bad side at all. And actually, I think that if they take the lead, I'll panic, because there was little spells in there where they got the ball and they went forward. They can pick holes. I think Ralston's block was absolutely superb, but the ball through the middle was on, and then you're relying on your keeper for a big save. But as a fan, it is so pleasing to get this feel, not only get back in the ground, but to get this feel good factor back, and to bring teams to Parkhead and put a few goals past them, which does obviously set Sunday up very nicely. But again, Saturday in hand, I just thought man for man, pass for pass. I thought it was like watching a team that have played together for a few years. And let's not forget, this is a team that probably needs 1 or 2 additions.
Oh, 100%. Need a centre back.
And it's doing this.
Bear in mind, Edward doesn't look interested half the time. Ralston, this is his first proper run in a team. You know, Welsh is still young. Starfelt's a new player. You know, Greg Taylor was written off when you signed him. And I look at Tam Logic.
Well, I mean, we
were
playing this. Rodgick against AZ looked great. He looks such a magnificent player again, and I think it's been quite important for us. We've had five home games this month. On paper, and using paper to pay for it, you're thinking, fucking hell, that's a bit of an expensive month. But actually, what it's done for the team to kick on, it's probably priceless, because you managed to get Parkhead full, well, near enough 4 times, and 20,000 in for the first, sorry. And get that feel good factor, get people wanting to come and spend their money, get people wanting to get them in, and then more and more people each game. It's somebody else's first game back. It's another bit of a notch on the atmosphere, and it has been good, and it has clicked. But as I say, it is worth mentioning that this team is 1 or 2 additions and a couple of niggly problems away yet, which again, that's quite exciting. It's a little bit worrying if you don't get them, but it is exciting. And I do think that someone like Starfelt, it's not been disastrous.
He's grown into it, by the way. I think he's grown into it.
We've seen worse in recent times. And I
Shane
think
Duffy.
well, Shane Duffy, who's managed, he's gone back down to the Premier League and got a man of the match and a
2
goal.
man of the matches.
Two man of the matches with a goal to boot. It's incredible. But as we mentioned before, sometimes things just don't work. And I think we touched on it with Paul as well. Patience sometimes is key. This has happened a lot quicker than I thought it would. So I'm very happy about it. I think if all of these wins would have been 1-0 wins, I still would have taken it.
Yeah.
But to have the goals to boot and to have, Kyogo in there, it's an absolute fucking blessing.
Here, how big's his fucking smile?
Oh, mate, so just give him the fucking keys to the city, I would.
Let's be honest, I think he can sprint around for the city and back in this thing you can do in a
mate, he's off.
His engine's ridiculous. It really is. And his movement as well. His movement is just a joy. Yeah. But we said this the last time. All you've got to hope is when you bring in a manager that's potentially unproven, he brings the very best that he's ever had. And I honestly believe that this is the best he's had. And it shows how good he is when he comes into a club at a big transition and goes, do you know what? Fuck it, I'll score a hat-trick today. And when he doesn't score and he's not on the score sheet at all, he's still, the fucking flags are waving for him and he's still getting to stand up because of what he does off the ball.
Yeah. It's that thing we said earlier. It's that thing we said earlier about Chong. You know what I mean? Working hard and,
It's exactly that.
I mean, I've seen it
exactly
firsthand.
what the team needs.
I've seen this shit firsthand. My missus was greeting her eyes out basically after Hearts. She was up last week and she was like, "It's fucking brilliant being a Celtic fan." And I was like, I fucking told you it'd come back. Trust me, I'm a fucking Hibs fan. I know what this is
But I mean,
like.
this is what you look at. Like, you say a week's a long time in football. Like, you look at this month. When I'm talking about it the last time I'm on, and I'm saying what a different feeling it could be,
Yeah.
I haven't got the bollocks to really sit there and predict it happening. But I'm edging to. But then you're thinking, surely it won't, because of how much has got to happen in that month for you to feel that different at the end of it. So for what Postecoglou has already done, and for what that group of players have already done, and then of course we've had Rangers go to United and lose. That's a big part of the jigsaw as well. It gets the whole country back into football. Football fever everywhere. That people are back in grounds, away fans are back, and now it feels like it's a league again. More so than it being a two-horse race or anything. There could be challenges. And with so many teams in Europe, and with the UEFA Conference League and whatnot, it's even more exciting to have these teams in there, because there's more teams now that have got to plan the whole season. They can't just drop off coming into January because they know they'll make the split anyway, or they know they'll be the other side of it. You might have an actual, you're only ever a couple of bad results away from slipping down, but the difference being you might only slip from first to second. We could look at it now where you might fall from first to third.
Oh, exactly. Like you look at the top of the Premier League right now, it's Hibs, Hearts, Aberdeen. And I tell you what, it's fucking beautiful to look at as a Hibs fan. It's pretty good to look at. Just something I want to actually touch on. See the way he plays football. You fucking pay to watch that, man. Honestly, fucking fast in transition, and the one thing I didn't like is the inverted fullbacks. It's the only thing I didn't like, because I think if a full strength Rangers with Kent one side, Wright the other, I think that causes problems. But Kent and Wright could be out for Sunday.
I mean, I said this about the passing the ball backwards. It happened a couple of times against Jablonec where you think you're going to get caught out. And my opinion going into Saturday was get caught out now, because it's going to happen. Get it out of the way. Get the mistake out of the way. Get it out of the system. Don't do it at Ibrox. But then when I sat and watched it, I noticed that it'll happen once. It'll go back, and then Joe Hart will try and play out, and the ball will go back to him. But at the second time it goes back, it gets cleared.
Yeah.
So there's still an element there where he's obviously telling them, try it once or twice. Don't, because for my money, when I first watched it, it was try it until we can play out, and that was worrying me. But as the weeks have developed, you can see that it's actually now becoming go back and try and find a pass. If you can't, just drop it.
Just get it forward,
and that's okay. And I can fucking get behind that, because when we do get a ball on the deck and play, I mean, we've not even mentioned Turnbull yet.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
For the highlights,
like fucking hell, man.
You mentioning Rodgick. You're talking about Joe Hart in goal. You're talking about Kyogo. You got Turnbull that's fucking scoring what's he got now? 5 goals this season.
Mm-hmm.
He might potentially more.
Level on with Boyle in the league.
There's pace and power all over, but I think it's nice to see. But I think what's even nicer is that once we've got the ball on the deck and we're playing some shit hot football.
No, 100%. I think the only time it's going to catch you is when you're in like transition. I think if a team stops you in the middle, and you've got, I'm thinking about Hibs. I'm thinking Boyle and Murphy just go play high.
Yeah, and I think it'd be interesting to see over the coming months how managers, how teams set up as well. Because look, it was so shit last season that you got to keep your feet on the ground. I think it's only 3 home league games and 2 cup games, but that 5 games has made a difference to the feeling, the songs, the fans, the atmosphere, the players. It's made a difference to everything, but you do have to keep grounded with it, because we've got to go to
the Lions
ground that will be 120% against you in every way you could ever imagine. It wouldn't matter whether we had 900 there on Sunday. It wouldn't matter a jot whether there's 900, 9,000 or none. The fact that you've got to deal with your COVID red zones is what it is, but you got to go and have 55,000 against you. You better take the fucking lead. Because if you do, it's a very, very different feeling.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, I've been there at Ibrox. You're in there 7 however many of yous, and you take the lead early. It's a fucking different atmosphere.
Yeah.
I remember going there first time we played them in the league in the championship, and we won 3-1. We were 3-0 up at half-time. We were 3-1 up at half-time. I'm just looking going, are we 3-0 up at Ibrox? And it's like a fucking cemetery. It was so quiet. It was funny as fuck. And I was just kind of standing there going, you know what I mean? You're standing there going, is this really happening? Or we're going to fuck this in the second half or something.
Yeah,
Rangers
something's going to go wrong, yeah.
Yeah, and the players just need to have belief in themselves. I think this is, that ideal time to play someone. This might be that ideal time to play Rangers.
I don't think I'd never go in confident. I don't, you never enjoy the game as such. But I think that any time, I think going into it, even a week or so ago, before COVID cases, before any sort of injuries and that, I was still looking at it thinking, yes, I would prefer it to be at home, absolutely. However, it's not the end of the world that it's away, especially if you nick that first goal, because that is just, it's worth its weight in gold, and it would be priceless, but it will be interesting to see how we react. And I'm happy that this game tomorrow night's there to pad it out a bit, and we'll just see what happens with it now. Just to see, because the first sort of 20 minutes, we haven't had to necessarily pay cagey yet. Jablanet was probably worse than you thought it was. We got over the line, but what a difference between that game and the home game. But I think the first 20 minutes, if you keep it tight and certainly don't concede, and try and go at them. We know that Kyogo is going to be up against a very physical battle. We're not sure, obviously, how many are out or what sort of team you'd face, but you beat what's in front of you.
Doesn't matter, it's Rangers, isn't it?
So it's a big one.
Just one last thing before we move on from Celtic, Sean. There's a lot of talk about Ryan Christie possibly going to Southampton. He's not been in a couple of match day squads. What's your thoughts on that?
I certainly wouldn't want to see him go anywhere. I think that the problem that we have is, and we touched on it before, that I think Cole spoke about it as well, the second season syndrome with Leeds. Like some teams in the Premier League, relegation is such a damning thing when you drop, that it gets to this point of a transfer window, and these Premier League teams that maybe haven't got the best of starts, they do start looking elsewhere. And I think that you look at a player like Christie, I think he'd do a job. I think that in that Southampton team they've got Walcott's there, James Ward-Prowse. Are they looking at it that they're worried that they're going to get butchered? And how long can they hold out to say no? But for me, I think that I'd like to think he doesn't go anywhere, and I'd be confident.
In the last year his contract as well.
But that's the thing. He's in the last year of his contract, so you're getting to a point where you give him a contract extension, or he's in the last year. If you can wait, if you can ward them off now, but then they're shit up to Christmas, do they come in hard and sign a pre-contract agreement in January?
Yeah.
I think sometimes, we've seen this with a Celtic board, we saw it the other week with a protest about rinse and repeat. Money talks. And I'd just be worried that the side bet for Callum McGregor, obviously the joke being about what game do you want him for whenever, and looking at bids and whatnot. But the problem for me would be that Christie's just in that grey area with it, that potentially the scope for a move, especially with the 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah.
And I think I'd be tempted as a player. I think career-wise, I'd be absolutely tempted. If I've been here, done it, seen it and won it all, I would be tempted. And I just hope that doesn't turn his head too much either, especially with being out of a couple of match day squads as well.
Yeah. So I think when McGregor came off, he got the captain's armband. I think that's a bit
Yeah.
of a carrot to dangle from the manager.
Absolutely.
I mean, doesn't matter who you support or that. Wearing that captain's armband at Parkhead must be something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
And I
a
think you're
massive
right.
carrot to dangle.
I think you're right, but I do think it's like we say, it's when a team comes knocking and they're getting maybe that little bit desperate, you know, as we touched on, Southampton had a good result Sunday on their side, but they struggled last season.
They still are
They
missing a
struggled
bit
a
of
lot.
creativity watching them.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing for them, that they're maybe thinking they're an addition or so away, and Christie's right on there, because I think they know that. I think a lot of teams are gonna. We need to stand firm on the McGregor, for example, that the Premier League just can't come and take your club captain, but Christie's not
No, 100%.
the club captain, and you know, and that's difficult, which is why I think he's just in that grey area now where he's a big part, but is he a massive part?
Yeah. No, completely.
So, but yeah.
No, nice one. Going from the highs of that, I'm going to move on to... You're going to kill
Comedy
me
hour.
for this, Paul. You're going to kill me for this, Paul. What the fuck is going on?
What the
What
fuck
the
is
fuck?
going on?
What the fuck
Tell
is
me
going on,
what
man,
is going
honestly?
on.
Because it's fucking continued on for last season, man.
Right. Just be devil's advocate here, by the way. I'm calling 3-2 Celtic Sunday.
I'm going 3-0 Celtic.
Just saying. Anyway.
Just remember, Rangers hate that score 3-2, especially against a team in green and white.
Oh, I know.
Especially with a 92nd minute winner from a right back.
Yeah. Pulling us out for 2016 again. Right.
Of course.
To the bad thoughts for the present day, because 2016 for Livy was a pretty miserable fucking year, knowing that we're in the
relegated.
No, we got promoted from League One into the Championship, and at the start of that season, we were like dangling about.
Nice when he was in the Championship 2015, 2016. Because
Yep,
Martin Boyle scored that 30-yard screamer.
Yep, and then we got relegated by Stranraer in the playoffs. And then 2016-17 was League One promotion, but it was fucking horrendous. Even though it was brilliant, we got promoted. But anyway, right,
Paul. Premier League,
this season,
Livy, what's going on?
By the way, wee Bailey, no bad wee player.
Oh, I mean, you saying
Bailey for Birmingham City.
Oh yeah, Odin Bailey, yeah.
Yep, yeah. Odie, right?
Yeah.
Not a bad wee player. Unfortunately, it's like welcome to the Premier League, and he got fucking broke in his first game. No sympathy for the ref, and obviously got up screaming and grating. We were like, get the fuck up, mate. Welcome to Scotland. Like, and in the next game he played, that was the League Cup game, which we eventually won on penalties. As you fucking tell, man, we scraped from penalties in the League Cup.
He's only won a game in 90 minutes this season, eh? Am I right?
I think the statistic, if you really want to be thick on it, is 17 games in all competitions, I think.
Fucking hell.
Something like that.
Drop the fuck. That's a fucking mic drop.
You know what the most horrendous thing is, right? See, on Saturday when we played against Motherwell, there's this wee YouTuber guy called Gogsy, right? Gordon Bones, aye. And I used to watch all his videos, right? And I had a wee slight change in fucking opinion since I watched that game on Saturday on his channel, right? Not that I'm creating beef here, but
this is the beef of PC, no football, bloody hell.
Livy, he'd be like, Livy, in that plastic pitch, get down. The usual piss patter, right? And I was like, whatever, right? And then he was like, we've dominated this half. What fucking game are you watching, man? Like, we had, I don't know what the actual statistics were, but the game I seen, it was quite an even keel. Like, they had chances. We had exceptional chances, which Scotty Pittman doing Scotty Pittman things of late. Instead of putting his laces for it, he'll tap it to the keeper and give him a warm-up first. Or he'll header it, and obviously he's 45 foot fuck all, so I don't blame him. Do you know what I mean? Heading a ball is obviously not stereotypically his strongest point. We also had Anderson through on goal. Which, to be fair, it was a really good tackle by their right back. I can't remember his name, but really good tackle. And then our goal, it just sums up Motherwell's defending and how much control they had in the game. If you've seen the highlights, Bruce Anderson basically does. You know what kids do when they first learn to dribble and they master the dribble, and they do that whole like tippy tappy on their feet, right?
Aye.
I don't know if you got a ball shot there on my feet, right? But they do that like tappy thing with their feet, side to side. Get plenty of touches in the ball. That was literally what Bruce Anderson done right along the 18-yard box, essentially, right? For the edge of the right hand side to just outside the D, and played the slightest of passes into Alan Forrest, and Alan Forrest just continued the charade, just continued it, and then had a pea shooter kind of angled shot into the bottom corner. It was outstanding. Great. I had to wait for the highlights because unfortunately my head was done at this point. I was like, this is fucking horrendous. But anyway, by that point we were in the ascendancy for the rest of the half, right? And again, just couldn't get it in the box, couldn't get it in the net. Usual kind of story. Second half came, and for some weird reason, he does it all the time, but Martindale has 3 at the back. And then plays the 2 wing backs, and he has Longridge and Devlin. But Longridge is that used to trying to play left back. Yes, I've now came to the fucking dark side and started to slate him because he's not getting himself any favours. Normally I'm like, but he gives his all and he gets his shape right and he talks a lot and his powers.
But he's pish.
He's fucking. I'm trying to not use the word boys, but he's just not up to the standard that he should be. What he showed when he was in the Championship. See when you seen him in the Championship back in the day.
It's 2 different leagues, though, man. It's 2 different levels.
I know, but like the things he was doing, just keeping your shape right, communicating right with the rest of your team, doing the simple thing instead of thinking he's Roberto Carlos and dribbling down the left wing like he's fucking ready to zoom on right in the top bag. But there's that, but then there's also you've got Fitzwater, right? Again, he tries, but I don't know if you've seen the Tony Watt goal. Have you seen the Tony Watt goal?
It's a fucking peach.
That is not a peach.
No, I think it's quality.
The marking is horrendous.
Nah, I'm loving it against Tony Watt, man. I love him.
Nobody knows who's marking who.
Oh, it's schoolboy at the back, but that's been used this season.
There's Devlin and Longridge on the frame of the goal on both posts, right? Not a problem with that. Get both covered, right? But then there's like Shinnie. I'm trying to think who else is in the box for him. Shinnie, Anderson's back defending, big Oberlai, big fucking beautiful monstrosity at the playing at the back. To be fair, he's a decent defender. Yes, he puts his weight about him and he has the odd mistake in him, which every defender does. That's just a fact. It's a risk that you have when you're a defender. It's not clicking together. But I feel
it's just not happening.
Which I'm not even going on Saturday. Like I'm not paying £26 and I'm going to see Daniel Sloss anyway at the Hydro in Glasgow. So I'm having a day out in Glasgow on Saturday and having a wee break for Livy. So
at least something will make you fucking smile at a weekend, mate.
Hibs away is never a joyous occasion for me on the park or off the park, to be fair. Edinburgh's extortionate. On the park, I've seen our goalkeeper I know, I can feel it. I'll take it, right. But I can't even think ahead of me who we've got next, but I've got a feeling it's Celtic at home. Does that sound a bit right, Sean?
Yeah, after the international break.
Yeah. So,
that's why Carla's asking me go and sit and watch it on the hill.
Pardon me. So
that's why I've been asked about that.
I can't see any points getting picked up the next 2 games in the league. I just can't. But we're languishing in the bottom with 0 points. We scored in every league game with the exception of Ibrox. But we just can't hold a lead. See if Stryer, God bless you so, hadn't made that wee mistake against Aberdeen, that was a point, which really should have been 3 points. I don't want to, but
does he get sacked, Paul?
See the second goal from Motherwell. Like, right. He saves it, the first attempt, and see in real time, like when you're at the game, you're like, oh, great save. And then it falls to the ongoing attacker at the time. You're like, an attacker's come onto it and picked up the second ball. So you're like, fucking defender should be to that. But it happens so quick, you're like, it's just quick play. See, when you see it back in the highlights, I don't know if the TV just makes it look slower. Like before the replay, obviously, I don't mean in the replay because obviously it's going to be slower, right? But I'm like, nah, Strike should be putting that around the post. And if you can't put it around the post, your defender should be in and about that to clear that to fuck. When it's behind the goal, fucking try and dribble it away, win the foul, which I hate, I despise because it gives me fucking heart attacks every fucking time somebody tries that. Devlin's the worst culprit for that. Or Bartley back when he used to do it. Only difference is his big fucking badonkadonk, he used to just fucking shove his ass in and he would get a foul without a doubt. Right? And there we go, a wee bit of chuckle, boys, a wee bit of chuckle, right? But it's like we get one positive and then the negative comes. It's like a fucking pendulum, right? We get the two coconuts or the two fucking walnuts or whatever it is, the yellow it is, right?
Magnums.
And you get them swinging in, and the positives like goes up this high, but then unfortunately when it hits the negative then takes out momentum and just comes fucking swinging right back in and wiping us clean out. And that's what's happened in the past like 3 games. Even in the Ibrox occasion, like the opening game of the season, I don't know if any of you saw the goals that we conceded, but the marking is horrendous. I think I was actually on here, and obviously I gave
you were unbelievable.
I gave the explanation of when the Waynes are took to the park with their dad, like that. They all just grab on the ankles, like you shove a jack in the park and count it on run. Do you know what I mean? Like I just we're so bad at Ibrox. In so many aspects of the game, defensively especially. But then there were so many positives, like when Bruce Anderson put his weight about up top, and then he only got one shot away, but you could see like the structure was coming into play. Alan Forrest is the same, and then you've got Aberdeen. We controlled that game, and every time you Aberdeen, they do it every time. They have 2 shots on goal, and the 2 goals they'll score.
Mate, they used to date to Hibs all the time, mate.
I think it's just an Aberdeen thing.
It's an Aberdeen thing.
Aye, and then Motherwell. The one game we were like, we've got this. Then we were like, nah, this is where it comes to fruition that we're going to be an outstanding attacking threat. There's going to be assist king fucking Alan Forrest taking over for King Mouldy, rest in peace, God rest his soul. He's not dead, he just fucked off to Hampton. But aye, like, it's like, where's the breaks going to come? The next 2 games, again off the top of my head, Hibs, Celtic. Celtic's at home, and we know that happened a few years ago, but we don't have Dix anymore, and we don't have Wallace or Robinson. So, for Lightning to strike twice, it's not going to happen. When you've got the likes of Kyoto, sorry, what's his name again? Kyogo. That's I can't fucking remember his name. I just know he's a wee Japanese guy that runs like lightning.
And we've got like the likes of Martin Boyle and that.
Aye, and then go back to Celtic. Turnbull. Turnbull is like the highlights alone. His movement around the edge of the box and eventually going into the box, just making himself available, and then that half volley he scored against Dundee. And, aye, if I remember right, did he not score a free kick?
No, he scored outside the area against Jablonec, and he scored outside the area on Saturday.
Aye,
He's got his 6 was. What the 6 one was?
He's got everything. And the only thing we can like pray for is that the Celtic defenders have a bad day. And the only thing we can really pray for is that or Martin Boyle decides to pull his hamstring in the first minute or something like that. You know what I mean? Mm. Like that is the level of confidence that I have for Livingston in the next few games. And for the whole season, if we finish 10th,
you'll be delighted.
We're going out for days. I don't care. We're going out for days.
Right.
But aye, can we go into Scotland now?
No, we've got. Right. No, we'll get that. We'll get to that. To that. There's still the top 2 teams in it. The top 2 teams in the league to talk about. Carl,
right?
He's got that draw against Aberdeen. I've not seen a fucking ounce of it, so you're gonna have to enlighten me on it.
It was quite a scrappy game. Both teams were really going to go for it, actually, to be quite honest. Yeah, I think it was kind of nearly 50-50 possession. So the Aberdeen wanted to take the 3 points. So did we. And, we scored first. It was a penalty after a bit, I'm not going to lie to you. but Aberdeen still kept controlling the game a little bit in that second half, and they equalised. Unfortunately, Nielsen was not happy. We should have kept that clean sheet to grounds for I don't know, but I think I played decently as well. So it was a really good fan. The fans loved it. So yeah, it was a good, decent draw. Even though we could have taken 3 points, but it was a good, decent draw. I think for both sides. I think to keep that unbeaten run, because like I said, we just signed Ben Woodburn from Liverpool on loan. So how he's going to integrate in that squad? Will he have to change the tactics? I don't think he will do, but I think if he plays off Boyce, then I think that will be very good.
Can also play wide.
Yeah, exactly. So he play wide out as well.
Was Giannelli back from sickness?
Yeah, he's back from his sickness.
I like the look of him.
Yeah, we missed Jay a bit much and hugely, but I think we got him back now this weekend, so hopefully we could get a good result. And like I said, we've been decent enough as well, but for Aberdeen as well, they've been decent as well. But I think there was a bit of altercation at the end between Nielsen and Scott Brown at the end of the game as well. So
Scott Brown's knocking him the fuck out, mate.
I know.
Brown's fucking killing him.
I can't listen. In the fifth fight, Brown won it. By blowout. The
only thing Nielsen beats Scott Brown on is the amount of hair on the head.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Ability as a football player, Scott Brown's got
in the game of musical statues.
I mean, both of them are ugly cunts anyway, but Scott Brown's winning that. Medal collection, fucking hell. Let's not even go there.
No, we don't have to go there. So.
I watched the YouTube. The young lad Ellis was up at your game on Sunday, and I watched his vlog of it. Yeah. What's that?
Ellis Platinum Ladies.
Yeah, he was there on Sunday, and I watched his vlog from it. And the one thing that stood out to me, Scott Brown was peppered from the moment he walked out of that tunnel to the moment that he walked fucking back in it. And when Aberdeen scored, when they're celebrating, he's got it perfectly on his vlog, and he went, and he's straight over, and they're all over there. But I was going to ask you about this. Do you wish? I know hindsight's brilliant, but is there a line where you think, shut the fuck up and leave it now because he's got the footballing brain to come back and bite us here?
Never.
But as a fan, you're not gonna. But I mean, I was surprised because I thought when he was coming out a bit of a boo and that, but the whole thing, anytime he was fucking peppered from start to finish, and I was thinking I'd not seen the goal, and to be fair, I couldn't pick out how much involvement he had now. But what I noticed was the celebration, especially, and I think when you give someone, it's like giving it to someone like Morelos. When you give it to him so much there, you know when it comes back the other way, you're going to feel twice as bad as they ever did.
Yeah,
but it was an interesting one to watch.
I was just keeping an eye on the result because I knew we'd fucked it at Dundee.
Yeah, what happened there, man? I thought.
Fuck! This is going to be a fucking clinic. COVID put Nisbet out. Newell was injured. What the fuck Alex Gogic is starting for Hibs this season for? I've not got a fucking clue.
When was his last game?
Mate, he played. When did he last start? I think he last actually started for us in the Scottish Cup final.
Oh, right, okay.
And I think he was left on that pitch because he's not been the same player since. He's getting a lot of fucking hate off Hibs fans, and rightly fucking so. He's just not the same player. I mean, every team needs a Alex Gogic type of player. You need that big, stupid, hard man in there, but Jesus Christ. Dundee started quickly. We gave away so many stupid balls. Positioning wasn't right. They were pressing us really high. And the wee cum dog gets his goal. And I couldn't even be raging about it because I love the laddie. Absolutely love the laddie. See, when he scored, I was just like, for fuck's sake, he's fucking done it.
You knew he was going to score against you.
Oh, yeah,
I saw the goal. Yeah.
Of course. Like, and I think he's actually progressed really well as a player, because at Hibs he could never play a lone role, and see the way he was holding off McGregor and Porteous, I thought, right, if we fucking sell Nisbet, I want this laddie back at my football club. And I've said it countless times, I'd take Cummins back in a heartbeat. We get to 1-1 with Dinny, it's not a penalty. Boyle does what Boyle does, scores a penalty again. I get up the dairy anyway. And we get to 1-1, we're going half time, going, right, that's fine, let's push on. We get to 2-1, Porteous scores for the corner again, right, let's just fucking see this out. Paul McGinn comes off, injured or shite. Whether he's injured or he's just realised I'm fucking pish, I don't know. I didn't rate him as a player, man, honestly. I think we signed him because he's a fucking McGinn. Because he's John's brother. Know that I like fucking attacking players, but it's just we're so bad at the back. It's continued throughout the season since the Motherwell game, conceding from crosses, and you're putting Stevenson in at right back. You know, traditional left back. He's left-footed. He'll give his all, but you know he's let the Dundee player. I think it was wasn't it McCowan turn on, and Paul McGowan's got in there. Gogic has lost his man, and it's 2-2, and you're going, Dundee are worth the fucking draw. I was constantly texting my mate Danny, who was at the game, and he went, what do you think? I went, you deserve the fucking draw, man, honestly. Dundee will do well to keep ahead of James McBake, I tell you. What a coach he's turning out to be. I think they'll stay up safely this year. It's just frustrating with, you know, we're looking at, it should have been 3 points and it's fucking turned into 1, which is murder. So, that was a disappointing. It was totally like, they deserved the point, but I was gutted at the same time.
Yeah.
Because obviously you want your team to win, and Jack Ross has asked for reinforcements and it's no fucking happened. Jack Ross has asked for another forward. You know, Doidge is now out to December. Word of James Scott, our new signing, thrown in. Thought he had some really good touches. Probably, if he's more match fit, he scores the chance he had. But I'll take a point away for Dens after that performance anyway. And sitting top of the league now, I don't know if it's going to be like that after. Don't know if it's going to be like that after this weekend with the Old Firm, and who have Hearts got on sat this weekend?
I think we are away, because I do know for a fact, I think we are supposed to be playing against Dundee United.
Dundee United.
Yeah.
Fuck. Obviously, we should cruise it against Livy, but it's never easy against Livy, really, is it?
No, it's not easy against Dundee United for us as well. So
they're on a good run as well, and they've just
exactly
Mark McNulty.
Yeah, so that's why I'm worried about. Yes, they lost the last game, but I would not be fair. They've really been good at home, so I'm a little bit just going to play our cards right and see if we can try, at minimum, get a point out of this one, because Dundee, like I said, no matter what the Celtic outcome in the Old Firm game, Dundee United could even move up into third at least. So I am,
quality.
Yeah.
I'm very tempted to. Well, I was tempted to go to Dundee Hibs last Sunday, and then Celtic took pain to that, and not too much of a late night, but a good day out. But I am on the cards. Potentially, I might go to that on Saturday to United Hearts. It's not that far, and with the game obviously Celtic playing Sunday. There's a few grounds up here I'd like to tick off, and I mean, look, I think I touched it before. 4th tier Scottish football at £15 at Forfar doesn't. As much as I like putting money into local clubs and stuff like that, I wouldn't be too fussed to pay 15 to watch them play Stranraer. I think I don't want to be a fucking tight hole about it, but I think I think it's a lot.
It's fucking 4th tier.
I do. I think it's a lot for what it is.
13 quid tier, you can go to Hibs Livy.
Well, in comparison, that's the difference. I think it's 21 quid in some areas at United on Saturday. little bit of a further
tell you.
drive and stuff like that, but it's about 22, 23 quid, and that difference based on, especially if the weather's shit. The weather's shit. At least you're under a stand. Do you know what I mean? That puts pain to it really at Forfar. But I do like to go. I have already been this season. I went and watched them play Edinburgh City, so I feel like I've already boxed that off, and I don't need to rush there every week now. So I wouldn't feel too bad
100%.
not putting my money into them. But I do want to go and watch a couple of Premiership teams as well. And you don't always watch them the same when you're playing them. If you've had a few beers in the pub, or if you're talking to your pals next to you, or you don't always watch a game the same when it's your own team playing them. So there's a few teams I'd like to go and watch. That actually sit down and have a proper watch of. So but yeah, maybe I'll be at that one on Saturday. I'm not too sure yet.
Yeah, there's a couple of like Highland League teams in and around your area.
Yeah.
I know it's not quite in your area, but there's like say Banks of D. They're a really strong team, and they're not in the Highland League. They're in the
Lowland.
No,
No.
no. I mean, they're up towards Aberdeen, but they're in the Caledonian North, I think it's called.
Right.
But their tickets are like £2.
Oh, there's just so many like random grounds that I just want to try and like.
And they've got a really good
and get a look at
really
that. Yeah.
No, it's class. No, I think that's something I want to do like this year over the next like 12, 18 months is get myself around the grounds in Scotland again, not just Easter Road.
So I think Hearts fans are in on Saturday, aren't they, as well?
Yeah.
They've got an away allocation at United as well.
Yeah.
So that's another like pulling power to it as well. Like to see like a bit of an away allocation, a bit of a match day experience again. Because it's been great at Celtic, but obviously you've not really had any travelling support or anything to get behind the other team to get that bit of a traditional match day feeling back, as it were.
Yeah, true. Especially, I think, because like I said, we're not, because we couldn't go. I think our last weekend we couldn't go to St. Mirren, so and it was going to be a decent trip for some of the Hearts fans, but unfortunately they couldn't go. So no, hopefully Saturday when we'll go up to Tannadice, so hopefully we could get maybe a good crowd, decent crowd. So
yeah. And so you say as well, like, with the starts that some of these teams have had in the league this year, and with the Old Firm, derby game this weekend, someone's got to drop points. Whether both teams drop 2 or whether one team dropped. No, I mean in terms of Celtic and Rangers, like Rangers have dropped points already. With Celtic, if we don't win there and you drop 2, or God forbid you drop all 3, you still have this competitive start that's there, still goes. It's actually really nice to have a game from the league perspective, have a derby game, a Glasgow derby so early on, and it opens it up. You've got like we say, Dundee Hearts on Saturday. Hibs have had a good start. Hearts have had a good start. Like it gets teams, and this season especially, it feels like we're going to get to Christmas. There's not going to be somebody pulling right away. There might be a decent chasing pack, or a pack as a whole. Which from the league's point of view and from an interest wise would be great to
it's
to
the
see it a bit
strongest
more
league I think
competitive.
we've had in years.
Yeah,
you've got both Edinburgh teams, you've got both Dundee teams, you've got Celtic, Rangers, you've got Aberdeen, all massive clubs in their own right.
And let's not forget as well, like we go with that, but you got St Johnstone who've won the double.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You got St Mirren who they're good football inside as well.
No, exactly.
You got Livingston.
You got Ross County as well.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be mad to see when we get to Christmas what it's all going to look like, because it literally could be, anyone who's sitting in that top 5, 6. It could be anywhere, because I don't think I think everyone's going to take points off everyone this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Livy could go to Easter Road and win 3-0 on Saturday. And then, we could beat Hearts 4-0 and Hearts could beat us 3-0,
We were saying it. One of the Hearts lads, the Hibs lads, sorry, that been in a group chat with, and we were saying like a couple of weeks ago, you'd be looking on paper. There was every reason that Hibs will go to Hearts top of the league, even then, and it looks as though that could very well happen. And he was saying he probably doesn't want it to be that way, but
us, though.
it doesn't bode well. That's the
no,
difference.
because every
it doesn't
time we
bode
do
well,
something like that, right, we get absolutely pumped. It's where the term Hibs in it comes from. And it's to do with them fuckers at Tynecastle. Right? Anytime we do something fucking good, Hearts decide to go, that's enough. We were I think it was Lenny's last full season, we drew 5-5 against Rangers, right?
Quite well, yeah.
And the game before that we played fucking Hearts and they fucking beat us 2-1.
I was at the game as well.
You were in the exec seats, weren't you?
The exec seat with one of my ex-colleagues who was a Hibs fan. We were sitting there, so he couldn't even move, he couldn't celebrate. Yeah, because I got pictures with Lafferty and them lot after the game. So yeah.
Fucking hell. I hope you washed after touching Lafferty. Fucking
pretty much actually, yeah.
To be fair, he fucking scores goals everywhere, that cunt.
He totally does.
Fucking scores goals everywhere. Right, boys.
He played for Blues.
Did he?
And scored. Yeah, he come to Birmingham for 2 games. Scored in his debut.
Was that when he was doing his tour of clubs and he was at Norwich?
Yeah, I think he might have gone. I can't remember where he come from or to. It might have been after that. It wasn't all that long ago.
No,
it wasn't that long. Yeah.
No,
it wasn't all that long ago.
Because he signed for Jack Ross at Sunderland as well.
Memory tells me he scored about 4 times, but it might have been more. It might have also been less. But I definitely remember the first one because I had him first goal scorer.
That's how you always remember, eh?
Well, no, okay, I was totally wrong. He scored once, and that was his only goal on his debut.
Fair enough.
He did only play 6 times. It was after Norwich, and then it was before he went to Hearts.
Yeah.
That
sounds about right. Yeah, because he was actually meant to go to Hibs. He left Lenny sitting at fucking East Mains. Signed for Hearts and went, there's only one team in Edinburgh, and I was just like, because I'd got on everyone had told me, listen, he's been in to speak to Lenny and all that, and everyone's basically agreed. And
we thought it was a done deal for you lot because it was going to happen. And
I mean, to sidetrack for probably the last time tonight, the way he backed himself at Hearts to score goals on his salary to get a higher salary, he went, if I don't do this, I'll pay the difference back. I mean, it seems like a bit of a cocky guy, but that's how you back your ability. I think that's something you got to give it to him. I mean, he done what was it, 12 goals he scored at the end of last season for Kelly and couldn't keep them up. Something daft like that.
Just looking at this here, where the fuck is he now? I've never heard of this. Oh, he's in Cyprus.
Aye, and he was something like Greece.
Yeah, he's in Cyprus, and
he loves fucking off, eh?
He does.
Here, do you know what's mad?
Just looking, 37 games for Hearts, 13 goals. So like you say, he backed it, and then obviously back to Rangers.
I think in all competitions he actually got 28 goals or something.
It's mental, It's a bit of a journey, man. But you think he's got Sion, Palermo, some mental teams that he's gone to. Do you want
to know what's mental? It fucking was it Palermo, right? He was playing with fucking Dybala.
Nice.
Him and Dybala up front.
Madness.
I was thinking, fucking Gattuso had Dybala and Kyle Lafferty playing up front. I mean, that's something you get in Football Manager or FIFA.
Yeah, that's when you sim Football Manager for 20 seasons.
Yeah.
Do something weird and press a button, yeah. That's the kind of shit that ends up happening.
It's just a fucking weird one.
Yep.
Right, boys, it's been an Absolute fucking pleasure. Paul, you missed me getting kicked out of this chat twice.
Oh, well, I'm glad
Okay.
you've stayed on.
StreamYard decided, nah, I'm not having any of his pish twice in the opening, was it 20 minutes?
20
Something?
minutes,
Yeah.
And I was like, right, turn everything off. I forgot to turn my phone off. You know, I came to the thing, mate, turn your phone on aeroplane mode.
Yeah.
Last time. I didn't do that, and since I turned it on aeroplane mode, we've been fine. So I've got to kind of leave myself a note. When doing podcast, leave phone on aeroplane mode.
Mm.
But I'll say again, thanks, boys. It's been an absolute pleasure. Carl's taking next week off. Next week, you taking off, Carl?
I'm taking next week off. I'm back down in South seeing my family, so I'm taking next week off.
Yeah, enjoy,
Carl,
man.
have a good one, man.
Will do.
And
You'll miss
PC.
potentially me jumping on and talking about the national team.
Don't worry.
Oh, fuck's sake.
I've got my nephew and nieces to bother me from that, so I'm not too worried about that. So
Right. Me and Carl came to a decision that's going to be every week at 7:30 for this. So I'll get the group chat. I'll get a chat sorted for next week. You want to jump on? Always more than welcome. PC, thanks very much, man. Even though you were later on, as always. Sean, an absolute pleasure as always, and we'll see if Blues beat Barnsley this weekend.
We will indeed. We will indeed.
Guys, that's me, Football Bloody Hell. We're fucking out of here. See you next week.
Cheers. Cheers.